Welcome back to Dum-Dums and Dragons, where improvisers who've never roleplayed before journey into the world of Dungeons and Dragons. I am the Grand Wizard Bukake, your host. Moeseiphus, Trax and Dex returned from their hunt for Juniper's body. Butthole healed them and congratulated them for their work. Juniper was relieved to get her armor back, and Quinny was livid butthole and told Ginny about the suicide mission. Will Quinny manage to leave his daughter behind, or will she join them on their quest? Find out next on Dum-Dums and Dragons.
Quinny, justifiably and understandably, you need to cool off. You've got this chat coming up with Ginny that you're really not looking forward to, and unfortunately, due to the nature of the mission and everything surrounding it, you've kind of been forced to have to address some dadding at an expert level. Like, you've just been forced into needing to kind of have a lot of very serious conversations that you weren't planning on maybe ever having all at once. But luckily for you, amidst all the people who have come into the Fortress of Forlorn Hope over time, there have been some proper villains. Just some proper underworld scumbags who have slowly made their way in. And though it was, it's been nice talking to Mickey and kind of reestablishing that side of things, always nice to talk shop. You and Mickey have both made fast friends with Tryk, the fence, who has opened up shop in the Fortress of Forlorn Hope. Now, granted, you guys are on the side of good, you're doing nice things, doesn't mean in a world overrun by zombies, there isn't a hell of a lot of loot that you need to kind of move through, and a lot of places that are still fairly desperate for supplies and rare oddities. So Tryk is kind of an accepted evil-ish. He's certainly pleasant enough, but I think you've just kind of accepted, if we're running a small city, then all elements of that city will be present here. And Tryk doesn't cause any trouble. He's a fairly imposing figure. He's kind of like a big, tough-looking guy. He's got a missing ring finger that he doesn't talk about, but that he's got tattoos up and down his arms that always just kind of peek out of his long sleeves. He tries to keep them hidden. But it's just the right amount of shady for you, Quinny, where there's just enough clear criminal shit. He's always hiding the finger, there's just enough to suggest some
he
shit.
Kept the finger? He kept the finger and he's hiding it around?
Finger? Yes, he's hiding his phantom finger. No, but just, when he rests his hands, he'll always immediately cover the missing ring fingers as a point of shame.
Okay.
Not doing a Handmaid's Tale then?
No.
Right.
Or an Assassin's Creed, where, that's the only way you can get your blade out, apparently. It's a real cool secret thing that no Templar will ever notice. Why don't they ever notice? Yeah, you've come to just kind of, again, I think generally kind of when you need a minute to just kind of go talk to him, because it's a little bit if you're a pro athlete for a long time and then you just don't, this happens to a lot of Olympians where it's they have lived past their window of being an Olympic athlete, and then they get to go talk to other people who still play the sport. It's oh, this is nice. Just nice occasionally to just talk to someone who deals in shady things. So you approach Tryk at his fence, which is
the Olympics.
Yeah, like the Olympics. Can you tell I used to deal with a lot of Olympic athletes at my job?
That's the level we're operating at here in terms of thievery and skullduggery.
You've got the top,
an Olympic
the top
level.
award, and the awards were corrupt. So really, it's just a perfect parallel for the Olympics.
Yeah.
That Oasis hotel made in a literal pocket dimension situation. You could have just done it in an existing stadium, and we would have had just as good. You still would have died. It would have been great, but no, we had to go the expensive route. In any case, Tryk is set up in a very, very clearly shady knick-knack shop. I'm talking one of those convenience stores that I know that there's a lot of near me, where it's just kind of vaguely empty racks, except for a boxed copy of Windows 95 and a router and then a wrench and then also I don't know, a dented package action figure from a forgotten movie, and that's all that has ever been on those shelves.
And then cash counting machines in the back.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
so strange. There's just always this noise. It's wild. It's so
get it.
weird. So it's very much that kind of vibe where it's like, and no one is really buying it, but it's just a necessary like, okay, fine. So you've gone to see Tryk because you just need to center yourself a bit, and it's helpful kind of stepping out of your new role and your new self to just kind of get down, just down with your old self for a bit. As you approach, Tryk is petting Goblin Jr. They become fast friends. And it might be in part because Tryk is always sneaking like little treats to Goblin Jr., which is like fairly common throughout the Fortress of Forlorn Hope. He is, of course, the mascot of the entire place. But because Tryk has these sort of underworld connections, occasionally he comes into possession of things that are like a little tastier than the average treat. Certainly not enough to like make a meal of, because you get the sense that if it could be stretched out, it would be. It's instead like, here's a little scrap here and there. Mm-hmm. So as Goblin Jr. kind of, he's like, snarf, snarf, and then takes off. Tryk just kind of looks up and nods and just says, yes, Quinny, Brown Barrow. You only ever come to see Tryk when something is troubling you. You so rarely bring me things to move on the market. What is this heaviness around your brow there, friend halfling? Please come, sit. Tell Tryk about it. I promise I will not sell it to highest bidder. Wink. Just kidding. I'll probably sell it to highest bidder. I'm just messing with you, but maybe not. Please. And he gestures to like a small stool that was clearly stolen from somewhere at some point.
Yeah. Hey, thanks, man. I'll take a seat down there. Yeah, you got kids, Tryk?
No. In my particular line, it was considered somewhat too dangerous. If I'm being honest, it weighs heavily on my heart that I never had the joy of, raising a little Tryk here or there. But in many ways, Tryk has found children for himself. They usually have 4 legs and a waggy tail, and they bark a lot. Those I consider are canine friends, my children. And they misbehave, but it is worth it. Yes, it's worth it.
I don't know. I mean, no, it is. I can't.
They are very good dogs. Yes.
I can't say that it's not. But I mean, you've got a point there talking about this kind of life is pretty dangerous, kind of too dangerous to be putting down roots, having a family, that kind of thing. And I'm torn about how to reconcile that. I still got work to do out here, and I have a very particular kind of set of skills. I can't just make a career change. But I got this kid now who, God, it took me like 2 seconds of getting to know her, and I'm like, oh my God, this kid rules. I love her. But how do you balance doing the dangerous stuff that you do? You're a fence, but you got to put your neck out a bit there, right? I mean, sometimes the owner of whatever goods you're moving maybe kind of wants their stuff back, right?
I understand what you are saying. I should point out I am merely humble merchant selling important merchandise. He gestures to the bullshit.
I know. And Quinny looks around, is like, it's just us here, man.
Yeah, I know. I just like to say it to you. I think it's funnier because
Well, how do you reconcile that kind of dangerous lifestyle with, say, raising your 4-legged barking kids?
This is a big question, Quinny. This is very, very big question. The nature of our work, you are correct. It can get somewhat hairy from time to time. Is not a safe job. But, friend, I often wonder if perhaps it is the less about your skills or my skills, or about the safety of balancing your 2-legged, admittedly inferior kid against my 4-legged, hearty, barking kids. and more perhaps about situations we put ourselves in, yes? You have chosen certain actions and circumstances. Yes, you have skills. I understand, but you choose where you put those skills. And you choose to put those skills in very dangerous situations, very, very dangerous places with dangerous people. Now, me, yes, you are correct. Amidst my trinkets, move some things that are a little less savory, and sometimes people want their stuff back, as you say. But if they come to Tryk, I just give it. Give it back. I take the loss. Why? Why would I lose more? It makes no sense to me. I just give it back. Now, if they come after, my associates, that is a bit more of a problem. But then I tell them, run or leave it. Do not die for stuff. Is stuff. Always more stuff. There will always be more stuff. And I will sell it at a profit. But it is not worth losing one's most precious gift. Now, admittedly, things are a bit different now that friend King Butthole can poop people back to life and such. But, still, one cannot always trust a foul wind will revive them. It's easy for me to say I get to stay in shop where you do dangerous things. But I think, in general, maybe you consider what you're doing and why. Because life does not need to be violence, even if violence is your skill. Huh?
I don't know, Tryk. I mean, this is war. We're basically at war. And I used to have a pretty small circle, and my circle has gotten larger, and more people have filled it. And now I think I'm in too deep. I can't just walk away from this.
Could you not take them with you? Must we be in a war? Could we not just live here and keep things safe?
No. Honestly, no. This is not... I don't think this is sustainable, you know? The whatever it is magic that protects this fortress only covers so much space, and as we gather more survivors here and things like that, we're eventually going to need to expand outside of that, and then people are exposed to the hordes of undead out there. Not to mention, again, literal full-on nations at war consider us enemies. And if we don't move, if we don't strike first, if we don't make things happen, then we're just sitting here waiting to get annihilated.
Well, friend, I think then this is the difference between you and Tryk. Huh? Me, I have what I need here. And perhaps I am just waiting for annihilation. Perhaps that is my fate for not engaging in the life you have chosen. But it seems to me you come with the question of how to balance these things, and if this is the only way for you, this is the only way you see, well, that does not sound like a choice to Tryk. That sounds as though you, friend Quinny, you have made your choice. You are just beating self up about it. And me, and he holds up his finger, he's like, I have made choices that I beat myself up about. I understand. And he like grabs you firmly by the arm, by the shoulders, which is always like, you can tell he's just doing it because he's emphatic, but it kind of feels like a vice grip for you. It's not a fully pleasant experience. It just kind of like hoists you up to eye level. And he just says, so if you are committed, if you have made choice, then choice is made. You need not beat yourself up about it. You must deal with consequences, And if only way to stop annihilation is to make this violence, then do what you must, and be certain and trust that your admittedly inferior two-legged offspring will understand.
Yeah, all right. Thanks, man. You can put me down.
And he does, and he just kind of like dusts your shoulders off, and he rummages around, and you can tell that he's like legitimately bad at human kids, because he comes out with this horrific, like straw doll that's just like the thing of nightmares, that is just like very, like almost like a Babadook level of nightmare fuel, and he's like, I saved this for most recent load that came through. I figure maybe you give to daughter as gift. Yes, she like? And he holds it up, and like it smells somehow both of farms and metal, and you're not sure how that's possible. But he's clearly like he's put a little bow around it, and he's clearly taken the time. He really thinks this is a valuable gift.
I'm just imagining him being like, my friend Flick said is gay icon. I don't know how, but very close.
Get Baba Shook. Yes?
I'll receive it from him. But I'll also just quickly cast an eye over his wares, because I feel like Ginny is too old for dolls, or
You are correct.
was forced to grow up too fast for dolls. And so is there anything dangerous looking in his repertoire?
Sure. Let's say there's like a one of those blade style, like it's a grip with kind of two. It's not quite a shuriken. It's not quite a knife. It's somewhere in the middle. But basically like a throwable double almost picked weapon.
Okay. Yeah, I'll say thank you so much. And, I didn't come down here just to talk. I'd love to do a little transaction with you if you've got the time. That piece right there has caught my eye.
And he kind of curls his lip, but nods and says, yes, I also assumed we were not purely talking. That would be waste of my mercantile time. So,
And I don't want to waste your mercantile time.
I know you won't. I know you're a very good customer, number one customer. So yeah, he sells you the item. He actually wraps it very gingerly, and this is something, Quinny, that you've noticed a bit about like weapons around him. Is he's like very, very tentative with weapons. So he wraps it and kind of slides it to you and says, "Hey, it's good then. One gift for you and one gift for inferior two-leg child."
Thank you very much, Tryk. I'll see you around.
Yes. Do not die. I enjoy our conversations too much.
I'll see what I can do about that.
And with that, you wander off to go confront Ginny with an actual gift and something you, I don't know, may trash along the way. Meanwhile, Butthole, having succeeded so well, so very well with Quinny and Martha, you realize that you've still got some unfinished business too before the Feast of Saint Mudbutt. And that is to deal with Crendon, the one of the two brothers, the brothers werewolf, who were members of the Fries. Crendon, if you'll all remember, was one of the first Fries to attack you as you made your way towards Cornucopia. However, he was afraid of and kind of hated his brother, who had given him a rough ride in life, and as a result, he was willing to join your cause. He heroically attempted to sacrifice himself by leading the zombie horde away with a bunch of cows, but Butthole, you said that he would perhaps have greater value in living and serving, and he assisted in the fights, and thus has come back to Forlorn Hope with you. He's having a hard time adjusting, though, because he is, he's used to having like a scary, vaguely abusive older brother, and also being part of like a military unit. Paramilitary unit, and now he's like kind of wandering the halls, not quite sure what to do. I think he probably gets a lot of glares from like Reginald and Doc Huckleberry and like the security contingent. He feels a little uncomfortable just kind of in this space. Yeah, I think it's one of those weird things where it made sense when it was just like the small dum-dums adventuring party, but now that he's in a giant fortress with a ton of other people, he feels incredibly lost. So he's been known to just kind of wander the halls, looking perhaps for purpose. I'm the DM. I can tell you, he's looking for purpose.
Honestly, if there is a character who could spot someone looking for purpose, it's definitely Butthole. That is,
that's
his
in
purpose
the
is to
homebrew
find
that
people like that.
we're going to make available, right? Like, of the skills, we've added one called like passive perception purpose. Yeah, detect purpose.
Detect purpose. He has advantage on all insight rolls before determining if someone needs purpose.
Man, that's great.
He definitely go track him down because it's something he's got to resolve before this has been going on. He's been really stuck doing a lot of like healing duties and bringing people back and doing stuff that he ultimately finds a lot more satisfying than a lot of like going out and swinging a hammer that he's been stuck with in the past. He's got that conflict raging about what is his identity. But man, going to help some guy who's not sure what's going on, that's his fucking jam. And like Quinny went okay, but like the Annan conversation went well. So he feels like he's on a bit of a roll here. Quinny went as well as it ever goes. But so where is Crendon? Because he'd go to him.
Well, look, we made a big deal about how great you are at finding people who are seeking a purpose. So why don't you roll me an investigation or a perception to see if you can find him. I'm also curious how that skill would apply to something like a spork that inherently has no purpose. Like, would this skill let you determine a purpose, or are you just identifying?
I feel like he could tell whether or not the blacksmith who made it felt purposeful. Because it's really just an expression of the artist's purpose.
Truly. Artisanal sporks are really where it's at.
Yeah.
Okay,
has two purposes.
For perception, 23. I rolled real high.
Yeah, you apparently did. So you find Crendon, after sort of some searching, you actually find Crendon on the roof. And you can see that he is just kind of quietly plucking away at a problem that has been slowly being fixed over time, which is after all of the shenanigans you guys had in your robo-troll fight up on the roof, the Necromancer's Potion Lab roof was damaged in a bunch of places, and while it was quickly patched, much like most home renovations, no one has finished the fucking job. It's patched, it doesn't leak anymore, but there still isn't tiling, there aren't shingles, and it's the kind of thing that like is on everyone's list as a maybe to do. Like some of the green painter's tape that's still in my childhood home from when we renovated it in 2003.
Nice.
Where it's like, we'll get there one day. It's not today, though. So oddly, Butthole, as you kind of check probably literally the last place you'd think to look, but that your perception and your faith in yourself and Moonhammer leads you to, you find that he's actually been doing this a lot, it would seem, because there's a whole hell of a lot more roof tiles in place. And he's not doing it quickly. He doesn't seem like he's particularly good at it, but he's just up here just plugging away, just one by one, jamming more tiles in.
The Butthole climb up onto the roof and just be like, hey, Crendon, good work up here. Everybody kind of keeps forgetting about this fucking thing.
Yeah. If I'm being honest, that's kind of how I feel about myself right now. So I figured I hold up two shingles. He's like, kindred spirits, right?
Yeah, you're like a roof. You keep people safe and dry and make sure things are good.
That's a very generous way of putting you're forgotten and don't have a full purpose right now. But I appreciate it, sir. I appreciate you, and I'm so grateful. I got to be clear. And he sticks the tiles in so that spackle doesn't go to waste. And he says, I don't mean to seem ungrateful or nothing. It's just weird being here, and when you're part of a murderous murderous paramilitary group, you just kind of, there's a certain lifestyle you get accustomed to. We haven't burned any buildings down lately, which I got to tell you is actually really nice, but it's weird. There's a lot of really nice people here, and I'm not a really nice person. And I appreciate that you've been really good about hey, you helped and everything, but yeah, man, I don't know. I don't know if I belong here. I should probably be out there with the other monsters, And just gestures broadly to the mountainous peaks and he's literally just that like picture of the guy like standing staring out at the mists that gets ripped off for everything, including this.
And Butthole has this weird moment of realizing how young Crendon is. For that thought to just be like, there are nice people here. I have to go out and live with like cave monsters, and just like how long and how far Butthole has come from the start of his journey, where like everyone is good or everyone is bad. There are black and white. Every elf is a boy or a girl, or like all his like weird bullshit that he started with to reach here. So he'll just start roofing, because I feel like he would join in that activity instantly, because just the work is also good. And just
you do get to swing a hammer, so there's that.
Yeah. So I just wanted to kind of talk to you about that, because I mean, you've had some time to be here, and obviously it seems like you're looking for a purpose, and you got some skills. And the roof, I mean, looks great, but I don't think you don't sound fully satisfied by roofing. So,
well, there's only so many holes to patch. Like, I'm going to run out soon.
Yeah. So, I mean, like, when you were with the military unit, did you have a specialty? Like, were you like, are you good with horses? Did you do a lot of like,
yeah, I was good at
travel and survival?
Yeah, we were pretty good at killing horses. Do you need some horses killed?
No, I don't need them killed. I was wondering if you were good, like, dealing with horses, like training them or riding them or anything like that.
Oh, okay. No, I mean, we dealt with them, but no, we didn't train or ride. There was more, teeth in the night kind of like, oh no, where's your cavalry? No one's coming over the ridge. Like that famous stage play where the Riders of Rohan show up. Our job is to make sure that the Riders of Rohan have to walk. And I gotta tell you, the walkers of Rohan, not as big a threat.
Okay. That's a weird skill set, but a useful one. So, kind of like knives in the dark, very sneaky.
Yeah.
Travel around, do the murders that are needed.
We'd like
to
wolf
prevent
out.
them.
We'd sneak into things and, it caused some terror. I guess I'm good at that. Do you need a terrorist? I'm a pretty good terrorist.
Okay, weirdly, sort of, because like I don't need so much, because like previously you were just scaring the good people, and that is what we don't need. But all of the ability to like eliminate the enemy's cavalry and like attack their supply lines and leave them afraid and off balance and lacking support, that shit I very much need. That's all very good. So I think we just might need to steer you towards the right targets and away from the innocent people.
Okay, so you're saying that my ability to murder and maim is good.
Yes.
Okay. Well, that's nice, I guess.
See, because there a lot of the ways that like bad people use people is they teach them how to be like incredibly violent, and then they teach them to like not have an opinion and not actually think, because they kind of want to make you into a weapon where they get to decide what you do. And then you just feel an endless amount of shame, and you suffer abuse, and then you escape, and you're like stuck with trauma, or you keep doing it, and you're so traumatized that you can't escape. And then sometimes the cycle of violence continues, but we're trying to break that. And you've got these skills. If you want those to be the skills you want to use, the question is, like the big question for me, buddy, when it comes to what you're going to do is, do you still want to do fighting and stuff like that? Do you feel like that's something you want to turn towards a good purpose, or do you want to get the fuck out of that game and do something totally different?
Well, I mean, look, I gotta tell you, I've been thinking about this a lot while I've been roofing. This is a very large roof.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
I got thrown up here by a dragon.
Oh, wow. I got thrown up here by a ladder I climbed. But
yeah, I suggest yours.
Oh, well, that's nice. I was worried I was missing out on a dragon toss. Okay. Yeah, see, the thing about being, like me, like once you've got the lycanthrope curse upon you, and I got to tell you, like, my brother and I got it real bad, because, I early on, he and I went and tried to talk to some people about it, see if maybe they could undo it. My brother was really into it. I think he actually just wanted to get jacked up more so he could kind of do it worse. Me, I was just kind of tired of having to buy new clothes all the time. So, yeah, they said the this particular strain of the curse it's real specific and it's real powerful. I think honestly, if I'm being real honest, I think, and he like almost like looks over his shoulder. He's like, I think Chickolas might have maybe had a hand in jacking it up a bit. Like you were talking about weapons and like turning people into weapons. Like that was very much the Chaos Mage's jam. So like he gave us something pretty potent, or he took what we already had and he made it worse. I don't know which one it is, but yeah, there's no like, you know, eat these gross herbs and then you'll poop for 2 days and then surprise, you're back to normal. It was like,
yeah,
you do
I've
that
got a
and then
bunch
you
of
poop
magic,
for 2 days and
but
then
it
you're
sounds
still
like
a werewolf.
this is the kind of thing you're stuck with. Yeah.
Yeah, which means that like my options are a bit limited. I know like your wolf, like he does a lot of shit with paws that I did not think was possible. He's just really well trained. Seasons and seasons of training, I would say, have gone into what he can do. So that's awesome. But I don't know that I've got seasons and seasons worth of training. You know, I think I kind of need to be useful now. So, you know, I guess I'm cool doing the fighting thing if that's what would be helpful. But really, I don't want to do it because I'm good at it, or you know, because I guess it's just I don't want to do it because I'm good at it. I'd rather do it because it's helping people, and like if you need a pet monster to do like monster shit for you, like that's cool. I can do that. If it's helping these guys, it's probably. I mean, again, I'm gonna be out of roof soon. I was thinking of maybe knocking some tiles off so I could have something to do tomorrow. But if you want me to go fuck some stuff up and maybe kill a horse or two, like I can just do that, or like I can leave the horses alone.
Yeah, I
if
mean,
the horses
honestly,
are innocent, that's
I don't
fine.
really need a pet monster because like Tryk showed up and he's kind of scary, and then there's also like Reginald. Like I got enough. I've been doing that. But so here's the thing we don't have that I think could combine your like abilities, but also help everyone and also do good. Because right now we've kind of got security for the walls. We've got like the beginnings of the army here. But the thing that we don't have, I mean, I've got like people I can send out individually, but I don't have like an actual group of what would traditionally be called like scouts and skirmishing infantry. I don't have anybody that I could send into the woods or send around to like figure out where the enemy is, to track stuff in the hills around here. You know, we keep having people show up at the gate. I'd love to know if they were coming like a little bit earlier. And if they're like sick or hurt, find them at the bottom, help them get up. And if they're like bad guys and zombies, like start engaging and slowing them the hell down so we can plan. And that's like a great way to help refugees who are coming here, to pass on skills that'll help anybody in here, especially if this place falls. Because if they don't know survival and how to go into the woods and how to figure that shit out, we're going to have a bad time. And when we have to leave here to try to actually do any of the engagement, that kind of advanced information is the thing that is going to save so many lives. Because knowing where the enemy's horses are is almost more important than the ability to kill some of them. And if you could take your skills and pick out the people you think would be great at doing that, I'd love that. That's doable.
Them, and then they get the powers, and then we become a wolf squad, and we go out into the woods and do wolf stuff. Am I following correctly? Or
I don't know if you need to bite them all. That feels like something that's like...
Okay, so no biting.
Okay, weirdly, I don't know the rules. I would say don't bite anybody, but if they ask to get bitten and like we make sure they're in a good place mentally, so it's a decision that they're making, then you can, but that's like a consenting transfer of powers. It's not like a mandatory thing to join the unit.
Sure. Do you have the cages we'll need, though? Because, I mean, once this thing takes hold, like, for a while, you're just a complete frenzy monster. So, like, if you've got some big cages, maybe some magazines while they're in there or something, then we can do that. But, the more you're talking about it, the more it sounds like maybe spreading my curse isn't the way to go yet. I mean, who knows? Maybe one day you're like, Wolf Scouts, and Goblin Jr. could be our, like, boss or something. But... yeah, okay, I could start putting that together, I think. You know what? You have my honor. My scout's honor.
Perfect. So we're going to give you the title of Scout Captain. And I'm going to trust you to pick out the people that you think would be great scouts. Also, we have... technically, they're working as farmers, but they may have some availability. There's a robot and then a psychopath. And they both seem to have good, like, stalking and small squad skirmish skills. So you might be able to use them as, like, training officers for some of their day. But, like, figure out who you think would be good, teach them up, and send them out there to like help keep this place safe and do that. They don't need like they see bad stuff coming. If you've got like people you think are ready, you can try to slow them down. But this is really just to like help people get here, spot bad stuff, keep us informed, and then we'll just kind of advance the training as we go. And you'll be the scout captain.
And he like kind of like straightens himself up, and he takes a deep breath and just says, "Yar, it shall be done." That's how captains talk, right? I've only ever met them at sea.
I think you could just talk like how you do. I believe in you. There are land captains. They outrank a lieutenant, but they are lower down than a major.
Okay. All right.
We don't have a colonel yet. If I sort that out, then they might be there. But right now, you're in charge of the scouts. It's just a catchy name, unless you want to make up a title yourself.
Oh no, I like that title a lot. I just thought it came with a voice, and I was really worried about having to do it in a sustained way.
No. You're you, buddy.
Okay.
I'm hiring you.
Well, thank you, sir. I appreciate you giving me this honor. I'll see to it. I'll start talking to the sneakiest people I can find or not find, which would be even better for sneaking.
Correct.
But first, I think I'm going to finish this roof. I think I'd feel real bad if I got like stabbed or eviscerated or beheaded or something out there, and this was undone. I know that seems like a small thing. This would really, really bum me out.
Yeah, no. Get this done. Also, don't get stabbed or eviscerated or beheaded.
I don't plan to. I don't plan to. You know, just sometimes you think ahead, and I'm like, oh man, what would I be really bummed about? And it's like, well, I mean, I don't have a lot, but this would just, it'd feel like an unsneezed sneeze, like just uncomfortable for me. So I'm just going to finish it, and that way I'm like at peace with anything, and then like.
Do this, get out there. And all I'm telling you is, a lot of people here are kind of weird about new people. We all know that. But the moment your team starts bringing in food from hunting or starts bringing in refugees who are injured or starts contributing in those ways, people are going to come around. Just stay nice, do your job, contribute. People respect that shit.
And he nods and says, I'm going to save so many motherfucking horses. And then he just goes back to sticking roof tiles together.
And Butthole just turns around and starts going back down. And he's like, I'm fucking killing it today.
But Juniper, you have not been feeling like you're killing it.
No.
Your Martha persona is normally top notch at all of this. And you've been doling out the advice you normally would, but it hasn't quite been landing the way that you normally like it to. I'm curious.
Here's the problem is that there's a lot of like parent-child stuff going on. The only child that Juniper really knows is Echo. And like, I mean, Echo can take care of herself, so she's never really had to worry about her. Mm-hmm. She also is Echo. It's anyways.
Yeah. It's a bit of a we need to talk about Echo situation. Yeah.
You just see Echo like skip by, like holding the doll, like that she's obviously like threatened Tryk to get.
Yeah, the parenting advice is like try to become the child as little as possible.
Parenting advice: do not look Echo in the eyes.
Yeah, I'm going to give you some advice. Now, you're going to think you want to lock her up in an institute for a while and perform cruel experiments and then hide her at the bottom of a well. I'm here to tell you should not do this, and here's why. In this thread, I will explain 1 of 30.
Yeah. When you hear singing, you think you should run, but that won't help you.
You'll just
but
die
also,
tired.
Staying still won't help you, and neither will fighting.
Yeah. Your main mistake was Echo. Is there anyone that you would go to, Juniper? Is there like do you think you have a confidant amongst the like? Would it be like Bucky? Like, I'm just trying to figure out who Juniper's like safe port of call would be, because I feel like both sort of like mainline Juniper and Sheriff Moss. Like Sheriff Moss would be used to having like a full town and honestly the sheriff to talk to.
Yeah.
But you can't talk to Quinny about this, obviously. And also this Quinny is different from your Quinny. And everything else. And Juniper, you were just on the road for so long that I feel like, aside from your brief squire, you haven't really had many traveling companions. So I'm curious who you think you would go to like hash shit out.
Oddly enough,
Or would you? I mean, if the answer is just that you'd like meditate on it, that's totally fine too.
I think, no. Do you know what? Juniper is going to take a step back from the therapy role and just be like, you know what? I just need to like learn a little bit more, experience a little bit more. It's going to be fine. But she, with the impending mission coming up, she needs to know more about what it's like in a Ka. And because she's been thinking a lot about, you know, how are we going to like enact new laws and make sure that justice is upheld from the moment that we step foot in a Ka? Because it's kind of, it's never really worked from what she knows of history. It's like you take something by force and like disregard, you know, all of your own moral principles, and then suddenly this like place this new structure that's set up is never like ideal, you know? So she would want to talk to Reginald to get the lay of the land of what the current judicial structure is in a Ka and what the people expect.
Cool. Let me check with Reginald if he's cool to talk about that. Reginald, are you cool to talk about that?
Yeah, I mean, he's in his tent, man. He's just in his tent fortress having a series of panic attacks about this mission.
Is it a tent?
Well, yeah, because he's got his glamping tent. So, like, he sent that up along with his other like, various cloth windows and improvised tents. So it's like a weird little maze. You can't quite figure out where he is the whole goal. It's always confusing.
And it's worth noting that this is in the portal room in the basement of the fortress.
Yeah.
Right.
Both inside that whole portal room and the outside all around it. So it's also really confusing for people coming in.
Good Lord.
Mog crankshaft in his 11 we're trying to get into.
So Sheriff Juniper will kind of knock on like a canvas thing, and that doesn't really.
Always the worst.
That's exactly what it is. And then that doesn't really do anything. So she tries to knock on a stone wall, but that kind of hurts. And just like, Reginald, Reginald, are you in there? I'd like to have some words with you.
I'm actually behind you. You turn around and he's there with the sword because he can hear anybody touch fucking canvas in his paranoia tent.
It's how are you doing? It's been a while since we, spent some time together.
Well, we're going to go on a suicide mission. There's no fucking goo, and I'm doing it because I'm terrified. So, I don't know. It's a Wednesday.
Well, there could be backup goo. If you have a moment, I'd like to talk to you about a Ka.
Okay, go for it. What do you want to know?
Well, I understand that it's a place of war.
Yep.
And we want to transform it into something more. Something based on peace and ethics and, the type of morality that we all share.
Oh, see,
and that
I thought
would
you
be
were going
good
to go
for everyone.
I thought you were going to go for like a war plus, where you're like war and this other little addition. But instead, you're kind of looking to, shall we say, cut it off at the knees and regrow a new tree. I'm not great with metaphors.
Yes, that's confusing. I'm not sure whether to agree or not.
Perfect. I'm not at fault if this goes bad, but I'm taking the credit if I'm right.
That's fine. I guess I just want to understand. I mean, what's it like?
Well, there's sort of like
people going about their lives, and someone gets caught stealing a loaf of bread. What happens to them?
Oh yeah, we kill them. It's really easy. They die. Or if they stole a good loaf of bread and managed to kill the person, they kind of own the store. Admittedly, again, the laws where I'm from
Juniper's jaw has dropped.
Yeah, they're slightly different than here. I learned how you guys run prostitution, and it is crazy. In my world, if you go you sleep with a prostitute, you have to make it so pleasurable for them that they have a good time, because at the end they get to choose to murder you or not.
I mean, it sounded actually quite nice up until that last part. So what you're saying is, maybe we need to find a way to combine the best of both worlds.
Oh, I don't think you want to take what I've got. That's a terrible idea. So I think I'm going to jump from your question, which is like, what's it like day to day? Maybe we could talk more about like what changes do you want to be put in place? Because I've seen a couple of different hordes over time, depending on who's in charge of the horde. So we got like everybody's in the military, everybody's going to war. Anyone who's not in the military is functionally owned or treated like property, and anybody who breaks the rules dies instantly. That feels like it's relatively consistent here from what I've seen. What's the end game you want?
Well, is for everyone to be able to have the opportunity to fulfill their potential whilst not harming anyone else.
Okay, what do you want that potential to be?
I think that's for each individual to decide.
So you'd like chaos. You would like everyone to be their own individual warlord, doing whatever they want.
No, as I said, without harming anyone else.
Yes,
Warlord
I understand, but
would suggest that there is war. War is
yeah, I don't know if
harmful.
you've seen the planet right now, but it's quite bad everywhere. And the people who made it quite bad are this country known as Aka. So if they all go, even if they all just go home and then lay down their weapons, what happens is the rest of the world goes on what is often referred to as a righteous crusade, and then stomps the nation into the dust, which they may very well deserve. I'm not arguing that they don't, but I'm just saying asking them to dismantle their military when everyone wants to kill them seems counterintuitive. They won't be doing violence, but they would be a part of violence very immediately, and I don't know if they'd follow that order.
Is
See, it sounds like you
everyone
wanna-
who's conscripted in, do they all want to fight?
Oh, no. Of course not. That would be terrible. Nobody really wants to do this.
So
really, that's
what
like asking...
we need to do is kill the leaders.
Yep, that's very popular when you're changing the horde. That's a big win. That's a big win. People do that a lot.
But it's
See, so
really, it's not it's really to liberate the masses.
That is often said, quite often, by people who then take over the horde.
Juniper, something else that occurs to you on this is Reginald is making, unfortunately, a degree of sense in terms of vengeance being a concern.
Oh, yeah.
And though you have, the Dum-Dums have a lot of connections throughout Faerun, Aka went to war with the Plantiers, and the Plantiers are just fine right now. They have their god. He's a little bummed. You know, he's in his post-divorce phase. But, like, there's a full nation of angry wizards who would just really, really love to stomp some vengeance into Aka and presumably most of Faerun. So as Reginald continues to explain sort of the state and nature of Aka, and Ryan, I'll let you finish your thought in a sec. It occurs to you, Juniper, that yes, the situation in Aka must be dealt with, but then for the Aka that Butthole envisions to exist, you're also going to need to deal with the Plantiers, which was kind of on the list, but I think it just got bumped up a few spots. Reginald, finish out your point there.
Yeah, so the challenge that you're going to be dealing with if you're trying to like take over and change this place is the brutality and the warfare has been institutionalized into the culture. So religion adds up to war. Everything adds up to the military. That's its purpose.
Right.
And the people in charge have all basically murdered or betrayed their way to the top because that's how the system works. So trying to free everyone, either you do it by force and you're going to cause a civil war, or you don't do it at all and you just kind of accept things as they are, which is also not popular. So I think the way you have to look at it is to fix this problem in any realistic sense is going to take a longer time because you need to take power and then you need to eliminate the people who are going to try to sabotage you and probably the worst psychopaths because they're always a problem. And then you need to stay in control long enough to start to actually shift the institution.
Right.
It's not pleasant. It's going to involve like purging people at the top. And here's the deal. You're going to fuck up a whole bunch of times and make things worse before they get better. But if you don't do it, they just stay bad and then the horde collapses. And I've been in fascist hordes and I've been in socialist hordes and I've been in communist hordes. And I mean, we did a democratic horde once and that lasted about 4 hours. Like the corporate horde was super weird, but like we did them all.
Is there a specific type of horde that people, maybe whisper about when, the leaders and war masters aren't anywhere around?
Oh, so you're talking like an aspirational horde? Yeah, so it's basically the best the horde ever seems to be in a theoretical world is a benevolent dictatorship tempered by assassination. That seems to be the best setup we could have. But it requires a benevolent leader who stays benevolent after they're in power and who doesn't get assassinated right away by less benevolent leaders.
Well, we can do we can do that. We have a benevolent leader set up to take the throne, who's a god. He won't get assassinated.
Great. Do you trust him to be able to tell of all the new people coming in whether or not those people are going to be nice and follow the rules and remain honorably sworn to their oaths?
No, but that's what the rest of us are for.
Agreed. I'm just saying he's got this weird obsession with like redemption, and a lot of these people are going to show up and be like, I'm a good guy now. I bought a farm or something, and like I have a petting zoo, and he's going to be like, I love your zoo, and then he's going to get murdered.
Well,
That's
we'll
how
do
this
background
plays
checks
out.
on everyone.
Oh, you think there's going to be a legitimate background? They control everything. You got to get more paranoid.
Well, what if we set up something to draw in all of the assassins and then just try to kill them all at once?
I mean, I've heard worse ideas, but like that's not a good one.
I know it's not. I know.
See, I think the thing you need to do is identify who the big bad people are and figure out what you're going to put them on trial for, and then make a big show of it so you can show that justice is a new thing. Like when
That's
you look
what we
back
need
at
to
the big
do.
tribunals for these, where they do like war crime tribunals or whatever. We didn't do those, but the Alliance did those. And people seem to like them a lot more than they liked us.
Yes. Okay. So we need Butthole to take power, make it clear to everyone that this is benevolent, and that anyone
isn't gonna
who
step into
tries
line
to
will die.
enact the old ways,
Dead.
anyone who tries to do another horde, they're going to be taken out, dealt with swiftly. Yes.
You
We have
realize
to spread the word.
you realize you're just how evil that sounds, like from the outside.
Wait, what?
You're going to force him into power and spread imminent threats about anybody who doesn't follow exactly what he says without being eliminated in a whisper campaign.
You just said
That's-
everyone wanted a benevolent dictator.
Yes, but they have different definitions of that. Also, everyone says they're a benevolent dictator. Somewhere, there's some asshole who just won't die that people keep telling me about. It's somebody's stepdad who's
Okay.
like, this is great for everybody. And then he's fucking shanking people and blowing up underground robot buildings. I don't understand the stories. But there was a giant octopus with a laser in its face, and that was bad.
Okay, then I think we need to spread a revolution through grassroots.
Yes. Get the people behind you. There you
Yes.
go. That I agree with. If you can get all the lower ranks to help you kill the upper ranks, then they're going to be so hungry for their own promotions, they'll be loyal for a short period of time.
Enough of a period of time for us to demonstrate that we do want the best for everyone.
Yeah, and if any of them are too charismatic, we have Quinny murder them.
What? Well, what?
And this debate carries on for another span of time as Juniper has to continually contend with Reginald's just kill them solutions. But slowly but surely, Juniper, an understanding begins to form in your head about just how much more complex this situation is. I think upon further reflection away from Reginald, you're able to start parsing what he's recommending against your own experience of running a town and of the kind of justice that existed in Old West Faerun. And slowly but surely you start to formulate plans, but knowing that no matter what, simply replacing Emily with Butthole will not be enough. And for a Ka, a nation built on war, to exist in peace will be a complex and somewhat messy process. But one you're confident you can start to build with the same kind of can-do attitude that the people of Tomb Slab pulled together against the harshness of the desert and an uncertain future. Makes you miss them all the more, but also gives you a glimmer of hope for the possible world you could help to build for these new folks screaming out into the void for a better way of life.
This episode of Dum-Dums and Dragons features the voices of Ryan LaPlante at the Ryan LaPlante on Twitter, Tyler Hewitt at Tyler_Hewitt on Twitter, Laura Hamstra at EL Hamstring on Twitter, and our DM Tom McGee at McGeeTD on Twitter. This episode's sound was edited and mixed by Laura Hamstra, and Dum-Dums and Dragons artwork is by Del Borovic, who can be found at delborovic.com. Our theme songs are And Now for That Massive Coronary and Skipping Through the Orchestra Pit Part 1 by Peter Gresser, and our ad music is No Control and Chiefs by Jazzar, JAHZZAR, all available at freemusicarchive.org. When it comes to Dum-Dums and Dice, you can visit our website at dumdumdice.com. Our Twitter and Instagram are at dumdumdice, and on Facebook at facebook.com/dumdumdice. But most importantly, we've got merchandise at redbubble.com/people/dumdumdice, or you can join our Patreon at patreon.com/dumdumdice. That's DUMBDICE. And tune in next week for more Dum-Dums and Dragons. Dum-Dums and Dice has to give a special thank you to the supreme beings of our Patreon at this time. The Half-Blind Prophet, Christopher Little, Sue One, George Dolby, Richard Cranium, Gavin and Abby McDonald, Logan, Fire Unfriendly, Grandma Likes D&D, Alan, Stabby Stranger, Glitch Trick, Roman Brown, Spot Allen, Flynn1138, Alarain Okapi, OMG, it's Big Nick, D&D and Things, Norma Byers, Schrodinger's Pepper, Guy Edwards, Flea Unit, Madre de Gatos, and Jill and Noel LaPlante. If you want your name to be added to this list, you can join our Patreon too at patreon.com/dumdumdice. Thanks to them, and a little bit of thanks to you.